Once again, we're back here, unscripted and
Hmm.
never thinking about anything. The Awaken Man podcast with Daniel on my side here, and me, Mario. We just picked up the mic sometime, and we talked via Facebook, and we said, you know what, let's do a podcast together. And this is how
Yep,
all this came about.
it's
And
true.
and we both are. This is one of the things I like working with Daniel is that we both don't like to be scripted, so we like to be no holds barred because if we plan it out, things just don't work that well that way. And I feel
And then yeah, and then I got to plan it out. I don't want to have to do all that work.
and I feel restricted sometimes when I plan it out. It's like, oh man, I have to follow this timeline. It's like
Right.
this way, this way. But that does bring me up to another question that somebody actually asked me this, and you know, they asked me, so how do you know how to follow? What is spirit, and then what is mind? And they
Mm.
were asking me, how do you know when it's your heart actually talking and it's not your mind chatter trying to fool you into thinking that it's the heart? And I think it's a good question because I don't ever hear many people talking about that. And as men, we're always taught to just, oh man, we're going to travel through this. And the first thing that comes up, and uh, no matter how illogical it is, or we have to make it logic. And, part of being a man, we get forced into structure right away.
Hmm.
And I don't know, what would you answer to that, Daniel?
Um, unless it's very, very, unless it's out of the blue, and I really, really know it's spirit, it's probably my mind if it's a word. I'm
Hmm.
gonna have a feeling when it's my heart. It's not gonna be as much of like, go do this. I mean, I have thoughts that are not what I want to do. They're the opposite. I'm like, what the heck? I don't believe my thoughts. They're usually wrong. If I know anything, my mind is usually making something up that's not happening. So you can have a gut feeling, but it feels different. It's like down here that you
Hmm.
can't see, but not up in your mind.
Hmm.
Like, thoughts are usually wrong.
Well, thoughts try to put structure into it. I mean, that's our ego trying to put control into everything. Um, so it gets a little, I don't know, convoluted. I can understand that though. For somebody that has worked in a very mind-based industry, for me, in IT, I'm always having to figure out the. Oh, I got to figure out how to troubleshoot this. Oh, I got to figure out how to design this website. Oh, I got to figure out blah blah blah. So we get used to in those patterns, and it really did take like a traumatic event, about my brother to actually get me
Mm.
out of that because I was so trapped in my mind that it was very hard to understand what was this.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. For me, coming from like the mental health side of things
Hmm.
and just being such an empath, I have thoughts that aren't even mine. So I'll hear thoughts like if I'm in a relationship, they'll be like, break up with this person. I'm like, I don't want to. Like it's like I have these like thoughts hit me and I just don't believe them.
Hmm.
And a lot of times you can even pick up on other people's thoughts or thought forms in the area and you're just
Hmm.
walking by and you're like, why am I thinking this? But someone might have been angry in the room before and you're picking up on it.
Hmm.
So obviously the more we meditate and do our inner work, the less we pick up on those thought forms. But I'm human, so
Yeah, that's the part that everybody forgets. We're still human people. It doesn't mean you're going to get rid of everything and we're not going to be straight from the heart. I mean, as long as we're in this human body, it's always going to come up that way. That's the way I see it. I always hear
mm,
about people getting rid of the ego and getting rid of, oh, and you can't really get rid of the ego because it is the humanity of it. I mean, and it is a greater, you use the ego as a teacher, in my opinion.
mm,
Uh, because it really, that's in human form, the ego is trying to preserve us because some of it is keeping us safe. It's like a bad memory. Oh, block it out. The ego says, we don't need that right now. So it does, in a weird way, keep us safe. So I don't believe in getting rid of the ego like I hear
mm.
a lot of spiritual people out there.
You won't be able to drive your car.
Yeah. And
No,
you
I
know,
like driving.
and taking care of the heart, I think, is one of the big things. It's like I do agree with you. It's like going down and feeling the heart, because I actually, for me, the way I try to, because people ask me this all the time, it's like, how do you feel your heart? I actually have a visualization exercise, and I actually go, and if I feel I'm in my mind too much, I actually like just visualize like an energy bar or a ball or whatever figure comes to you, and then I just imagine it, and then just bring it down. And I mean, I'm literally imagining it going down, and then leaving it here. And then something about that exercise for me that gives me, oh, there's my heart. It's like that's how I feel it.
Mm. Yeah, I mean, I just put my hand on my heart. I just
Yeah.
feel it. It supposedly activates it. So I'll do that while driving or things like that, and it
Mm-hmm.
seems to really work. Certain music, I think, does that.
Mm-hmm.
Um, like Above and Beyond, I know you like them probably. They definitely activate your heart real fast.
Yeah. The music, and I don't know. For me, it has to be like a certain type of music. Like I can't find that with heavy metal or anything like that. That's a little too much for me.
I love it, but that's when I'm angry. And I want to move anger. There's a different energy going on there. It'll move certain stuff around, but it's definitely not getting in your heart. It's getting in more of your power, right? That like confident person.
That is true. I didn't think about it that way. It's like another way of releasing anger would be to put some music on that lets you express that, I guess, right? Is that what
Right.
you're saying? Yeah.
Mm.
Ah, yeah.
Yeah. No, I definitely do that. I think music's so powerful to release certain energies, and you're probably going to resonate with a certain music at a certain time,
Mm-hmm.
but using that to move yourself through it, I think is super powerful. And I see nothing wrong with any type of music. I'm not in that spiritual thing like, oh, it's only high vibrational music. I'm like, whatever you like is high vibrational music. And as you know, if you're in a certain vibration, every music sounds good, right? When you're in a
Yeah.
good place, you could be at a country show and you'd be like, I'll find the positive. For me, that's hard. But like, it just depends where you're at. But when you're in a negative place, you can find the negative about anything.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I guess it does matter in the what type of state you're in. Because if you are in the negative stuff, I mean, I remember when I used to be depressed about something, and then I would put on really sad music, and that would let me out. I never thought about it that way, but you're right. It's like it's not about you're gonna get sucked into that vibration, because that's what I hear a lot. It's like, oh, be careful. It's more about releasing it. It's like, oh, okay, just not getting stuck there is the big thing.
Yeah. The funny thing is people think they need to keep their vibration high, which is like the opposite of keeping a vibration high. You
Mhm.
just let your vibration go higher. It's not up to you. Like that's your natural state. So you just gotta let yourself go up. You just don't hold yourself down. But people
Mhm.
are like, I'm trying to get a high vibration. I'm like, that doesn't work. Like you just gotta chill and let it happen over time.
Once
Really the
again,
people stay depressed and stay anxious and angry because they don't like that they're angry, depressed, or angry. So they stay there. So they're trying to fix it. If you just let it be, it would go away.
and once again, that's part of that letting go, isn't it? It's like we have to just trust that we're all that. It's like we're a high vibrational being. So knowing that, rather than having to say, that's a good point, because if you're always pushing yourself to be a higher vibration, that means that you're always in a lower vibration. Because in a weird way, you're saying, "Oh, I'm not in a high vibration, so I have to work at it all the time."
Right. Like I mean, Abraham Hicks says like, right, let the cork float. Like let your cork up. She doesn't say push your cork up and make it happen. Like that's bringing the old energy of it's like a judgment. It's like I gotta make my vibration higher. I'm not worthy of
Mhm.
whatever. But Donald Trump is rich and he probably doesn't have a super high vibration. So like I don't know his vibration level. I could probably tap in. It's not very high, so it's nothing to do with it.
Yes. So that's very interesting. You bring a good point I hadn't thought about. It's definitely being in that vibration, no matter what. vibration you're trying to get to. We just let go of that. It's once again, it's that control part of it.
Right. Yeah, and that's something I've been processing lately within my relationships. And the male ego, the shadow is control.
Yeah.
I mean, we want to control, right? We want to be in a relationship. And I've seen all these patterns within relationships, because I'm more like open relating. So you really see your control patterns.
Yeah.
Like they come out super strong. You think you got it, and then you get into that world, and you're like, oh my God, I don't. Which is great. It's what I need in this moment. And like, yeah, there's a lot of control stuff in me that I've had to like address. Like, oh, I am being controlling. Oh, I want to, make this relationship work instead of just letting it work. Like, I'm striving to get money instead of just letting it happen. Like all these things you notice, but that's in a way that constant striving is a control thing, right? If I work so hard, and it's okay to work hard. I mean, that's fine, but like, I'm going to be better or feel better from that. And that's a control thing. I'm going to control my emotions, right? Like I've never been able to do it.
I don't know how anybody's, the only thing that I've had happen to me is like go numb it's like I hid my emotion so much that my sensation to my body was numb. But I mean,
right.
I was feeling the emotions. It was just manifesting another part of my body. It's like, well, my whole body. I was like, it's like, wow, what is that? It's like, that's nothing right there. So that was pretty interesting, because I think it'll manifest if we don't allow it. It's going to somewhere manifest either in holding us back in something, whether in our thinking and the way we talk and the way we relate, in our body, how we feel. I mean, because all that pent up energy is going to go somewhere. We just don't know where.
Right. Yeah, I mean, definitely. I mean, that's how you get angry, and that's how things come out, and all those emotions are important to let in. I think as a male, I've done this. I'll push through the emotions, right?
Right.
And that's fine sometimes, and sometimes you got to get shit done. Like you got to be that masculine, but also like for me, I'm easily can help people and do stuff, but like letting those emotions in, it's like, oh no. Sometimes it's like, I just got to feel that.
Yeah, it's very interesting how we have a tendency of going, it's like, oh, I don't want, especially in America. It's in the United States of all things. It's like, oh well, they're sad. No, we got to cheer them up. It's like, oh, they're angry. It's like we got to calm them down. And I think that's where a lot of the tensions happen. It's like, oh, if I'm crying, it's like, oh, there comes somebody. I can't be crying in front of them, especially as a man. I mean,
yeah.
It's like, oh, it's like, I got to be that strong individual for this. It's like, hey, man, I feel I cry. It's like,
yeah. And I can tell you, women like it. This day and age, they want that. So if you don't have emotions, you're going to miss out on dating people. I mean, the woman I've been seeing, like, she hangs out with another guy and he has no emotions, so she's not gonna date that guy. Like, and he could be successful with all the money in the world, but she's like, no, he has no emotions. So like, that's super important for that, but also just for us to know what we want and where we want to go. I mean, if you're not willing to feel, you're not in your heart.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not about feeling just joy. I mean, being in the heart is about feeling everything.
Well, and that's the totality of being, and we always talk about awakened men. It's like awakened men just means that we have both the masculine and the feminine, and while sometimes we go off in one side or the other, it means that we're always trying to find that center where we both can honor both sides of who we are. I mean, same thing for females. It's like females they would go through the same thing, a balance of the feminine and the masculine. Of course, being male, I guess, some of the more male traits would definitely come out, and in the feminine, in a female, it's like it would be, I guess, more of the feminine. But I don't know. It's when we get to a certain point, does that really even matter? I mean, do we become? I guess that's the part of becoming one, isn't it? because that makes me wonder. It's like, at what point are we going to be in the middle? Because when you really look at it, what is the middle for us would be the middle for the females also.
Right. In some senses. I believe some people have more than one than the other. I think there's certain archetypes or people that come in as a certain archetype that's more feminine energy.
Mm-hmm.
Like the high priestess archetype is very, I'm going to take care of the temple and not really move and not do as much. And then the masculine is more of take that action. I think and I think there's females that are more masculine, and I'm not saying it's a male, like the gender.
Yeah.
I don't believe becoming the same is what we want. I think we have to find our specialties. I'm not a huge, I don't even say a fan of equality, but we're just all different and we have to like accept that. Like I probably have more, I can be more on the masculine, like a balance. And then I know some males that are more on the feminine, and I think that's beautiful. And then some masculine, they're way on the masculine side, which is just beautiful too. And then you'll match up with a partner that has the same balance usually.
Yeah, and that's the trick. I mean, that balance it's always constant work, and especially when you're in a relationship, it's always a constant thing because relationships is what causes us to grow exponentially. That's my personal opinion, of course.
Yeah.
But it forces you to look at the shadow, and the shadow is one of those real deep stuff.
Yeah.
We can go dig and dig and dig and dig. But like we've always said, it's like you got to put some play in there. You got to have some fun.
Right. And I got unbalanced recently. Like I didn't have enough play.
Mm-hmm.
And then I went to an event. The universe made me. It was not getting me out of it. And then I felt so much better. And there's points in your life, like right now I'm going on a trip. So like I'm striving more. Like I'm working 50 hours a week to bring in some abundance. So when I go, I'm like, it's good. Like that's the masculine part. But then I'm like, but I'm going to go to this event. Like I'm like scheduling play within there almost.
Right.
Be like, if I don't do something fun within this, I'm going to go crazy. Like I need at least 1 2 hour, 3 hour fun event within it. And it makes all the difference. As much as I teach play, I fall into the side of being too serious.
We're all guilty of it. I mean, that's the whole thing. We teach it because we're living it. That. Right. So if we weren't doing it, then we really couldn't be teaching it. And at least that's my opinion. You can't learn this stuff in the book. You have to really go through the experience.
Right. Yeah. And how do you find that balance? Not just when things are easy. Like if there's nothing going on, it's fine. But how do you find the balance when things are a little turbulent? Like and it's always a back and forth, right? There's going to be moments where you're more in like getting stuff done and being serious, but then you got to find that time to do something you like, and you'll notice it, and you'll get depressed. Like I was feeling a little sad, and I was like, oh, there's something off balance, right? And that's why you have to feel your emotions, because then you can get back on balance. And I don't think you ever have balance. Like I think the only way to have balance is to go off balance and go back and go off balance and go back. This idea that you'll have it forever is ridiculous. I was at this gathering and someone said this full moon in Libra is about having balance, and I laughed. And people were like, why are you laughing? I'm like, you're never gonna find balance. Like you just have to keep on balancing. Like it's not finding it forever. Like that's. I mean, I do circus arts, and I like doing the tightrope, and that's how you keep balanced as you go back and forth.
Yeah.
You actually need to be unbalanced to stay balanced.
Now you
can't just be rigid. Yeah.
Yeah, and like I said, as long as we're in these human bodies, I mean, our human bodies are not perfect. So how can you have perfection in something that's already imperfect? But then again, that's the beauty about the imperfection, is the imperfection is what gives us our striving for perfection, even though the body is imperfect. Kind of a bit weird, vicious cycle when you really get into it.
Yeah, it is a weird cycle. But that's like that idea that you're going to find enlightenment or find some end, and you're going to feel better. You're going to get better at balancing, but then you're going to have higher stakes of different things to balance, and the universe is going to throw you in a little harder challenge because that's what you came for. So you're like, oh, you can balance this. Let's see if you can go on a 3-week trip and start a relationship and do this at the same time. Or, oh, okay, like I can handle that. I couldn't 3 years ago, so I didn't get put in the situation.
Mm-hmm.
But you get put in higher levels, just like you would at a job or
Yeah.
school.
Yeah. That everything is a test, in my opinion. There's whenever you find that balance, the universe is definitely going to throw something at you to go. It's like, oh, okay, here we go. It's like you think you're all that. Let's throw this in there.
Yeah, definitely. Like obstacles are why. I mean, we can't create without obstacles. So
Right.
I like challenges or tasks. They're all the same words, different things.
Hmm.
But people think I'm not at a high vibration because things are going wrong or things are crumbling in my life, and that's how nature works, right? Like
Yeah.
I'm in renewal now. I was in crumbling before, and new things are coming, and I'm like, oh, this is exciting. I'm going on a trip. I got a new place in the mountains. Like I'm
Mhm.
getting all these stuff, but I know it's going to erode again at some point. Like I'm not even in the stock market, your bank account never just goes up and up and up and up and up. It goes up and up and up, and then it goes down, 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 down. Then it goes up, and then it goes down. Like that's how life works. And it doesn't mean you're in a bad place or a low vibration or doing something wrong because things are just going up and up and up. Like that's not what we came for. And that's not
Yeah.
how nature works. Nature just doesn't go up, 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 up. It goes in spurts,
Well, I mean, all
back and
you have
forth.
to do is look at the trees and look at the seasons, and they
Mm.
take their leaves off, or I like to say that it's their clothes. They take them off for winter for whatever reason, and then they put them back on for summer. I guess they don't want to get sunburned.
Right. Yeah. And we think something's going wrong when things are going, I don't want to say bad, but things are crumbling, right? Like if you lose your job, something's wrong. If you lose your relationship, something's wrong. Or you're losing your friends, something's wrong. And that's part of the process. And you're going to
Yeah.
do some things consistently. I'm not saying everything's going to go away, but if there's any consistency in life, it's that there's ups and downs.
Hmm. Yeah.
But then people beat themselves up like they're doing something wrong because there's ups and downs.
And to me, that's why when the ups and downs to me are just all lessons.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what made me see life so different. When I see that everything is happening for me, not to me,
Yep.
it changes everything because there's nobody to blame for whatever's going on except yourself. you, we,
Or
have to-
not.
or
I mean, I
not.
would challenge that and be like, sometimes life just hits you in the face and has nothing to do with you. It's your higher self or something helping you, but like,
Mhm.
maybe don't blame yourself. Sometimes, maybe it's just life.
I
Life
guess
just
let me rephrase that. I don't mean blame. I guess let's.
no, it's okay. I mean, yeah, I get what you're saying. Self responsibility.
Oh no. I mean no, but I'm trying to get because blame does have a negative connotation. So let's see. Yeah, self responsibility. So something. What would be the word to change? Because I hear that all the time. So let's see. How would I say it? I would say, yeah, I'm responsible. So something's going on. So I will take self responsibility. I would be responsible for what's going on with myself.
Right.
There you go. I like
Yeah.
that better. That has a little bit better connotation because I like the whole NLP thing. If we change our words, I think it does change the energy of what we're saying.
Self responsibility sounds empowering. Blame
Yeah.
sounds like it's my fault. Yeah. And it's
Yeah.
little word changes. That's why I just playing with it. I got your point
Yeah.
behind it. Like I could feel I knew you weren't saying blame, but I was like, okay, yeah, like if you're going on a trip and you gotta, like me, work and save up some money,
Mhm.
then it's up to you. That's self responsibility. Like I'm not gonna go out for a week and just do
Yeah.
what I need to do, right? Well, I
Oh,
was 22, I wouldn't have done that.
yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's being 32 instead. Like, oh, I like to have a little ease. It's worth, doing this. But no, I think it's so important. But I just don't want people ever to blame themselves for like what's happening. It would be like the tree blaming itself for winter.
Yeah.
And that's what people do. They're like, oh, my vibration must not have been high enough because this thing happened to me. I always use the stub the toe example because I think it's ridiculous. You're like, I stubbed my toe because what was happening? I was like, you just stubbed your toe. Like maybe it's fine. Like let's just go. It's just like people took people used to blame themselves because they didn't do enough work, and then they became spiritual, and now they blame themselves for not having a high enough vibration. I'm like, you're doing the same thing. You just took spirituality and your ego took it and went, I'm going to beat yourself up with this. You didn't meditate an hour a day. That's why you had a bad day. No, like sometimes days just suck. It's not your fault. Like, life happens.
Sometimes the universe just throws that curveball just to see how you're doing.
To help you awaken. Most people awaken through a really, really rough experience. I mean, that is the story. Like, Eckhart Tolle awakened from suicide. I know Kyle Cease, who I listen to, he's not as big, but he awoken that way. I know Matt Kahn went through a bunch of stuff. I know Jesus was yelling at his dad. Like most of them went through some, right? Martin Luther King was being like attacked. Like, he wasn't like, oh, my vibration isn't high, that's why racism happened. He meditated and prayed to the point where he didn't attack back. Right. Now that is where the vibration's high. Life hits you hard and you go, well, I don't like this. I lost all my savings recently. I didn't like that happening. But I meditated and went, all right, it's going to be okay. I lost my relationship, my place to live, and my money. This is supposed to happen. I didn't do anything wrong. But I'm not going to go attack someone, right? I'm not going to go yell at people and take it out on the world or my roommates or my friends. Like, I'm just going to sit with this for 3 days in a room, and then I'll came out a new person. So it actually made me much more abundant, ironically, by losing all my money. But when we're in that, Matt Collin calls it erosion, but I like the Tower card of the tarot. That should be exciting to you. Like, if everything's falling apart, new things are coming. I'm really good at letting things fall apart. Like, that's kind of my gift. I'm not good at receiving, so I'm working on that. The build up, I don't let it build up. So I'm noticing that in myself, but really good at letting things die. Like, the universe is like, you got to close your business. I'm like, fine, cool, I'll do that, or whatever it says. But I'm not good at like the other side.
Yeah, it's interesting when we talk about that, because it does bring up a lot of things. It's like the positive. I don't even want to use the word positive, because that even gives it a connotation of something, a feeling. But it moves us. The erosion, like what you were talking about, that causes us to go either in one way or the other way. And if we go in the part that elevates us, then it takes us even higher for the next one. But if we go in the negative route, then it takes us the other way, and then we keep going further down.
Right.
And that's the whole thing, because I hear a lot of people say, oh, that's just positive talk and blah, blah, blah. I mean, even SNL had a skit a long time ago about a coach that was just very airy-fairy and was very extremely positive, to the point that they made so much fun of it. But it's not even about positive affirmations or anything. It's about putting yourself in a situation where you know that you're going to come out of it, and you will be stronger for it.
Right.
That's what it's all about. It's however you want to word it, however we put whatever label we put on it. The reality is, if we move through it, we grow from it, even unintentionally. If just moving through it without even thinking, oh, I'm going to grow from this. If we just move through it, we get so many lessons out of those real tough places. Because it happened to me. I mean, with my brother and my divorce, I had a divorce, and a couple of friends of mine passed away that same time. My house was close to foreclosure, and I came out a better person.
Right. Yeah, I think the positive thinking thing that you make fun of is like when people would be like, oh, I lost all my savings and, lost my relationship, and someone comes up to me and goes, well, it's all supposed to happen and we're all one in unity, so it's going to be okay. Like, that doesn't sound good, because it does suck. I did not like it. Yeah. I wasn't like, yay. Like, I was like, oh, I invested my money and I lost it. This sucks. And I was going to use that for this. And I was like, I went down and went away, and now I'm here. And I'm like, I don't know how I'm going to make, because it's like I saved it. That's why I moved, right? So I had the money because I could be fine for a little bit. And I was like, oh my God, now I'm here. And I'm like, like, it was definitely sucks. Like, I'm not, and that's the positive thinking. But The positive would be like, well, this really sucks, but I know it's in my highest good. That's being authentic.
Mm-hmm.
Not being like, oh, this person died and I really like it. Like that's weird. That's denial. Like, oh, like I'm so happy I went through this breakup. You might be like, I know it's gonna be better in the long run, but right now it sucks.
Yeah, I mean, and that's the whole thing about what I was talking about earlier. It's like we have to allow our emotions to process. I mean,
right?
Because if we don't, it just manifests. And that, I guess that's thank you for clarifying that more. That's really what I'm talking about, because it's not about going, it's like, oh, this situation sucks. Oh, well, this situation is actually really good, and da da da. It's like, no, it sucks, and it's okay.
Right.
It sucks.
Yeah.
And, yeah.
No, I think that's super powerful. It's like, and it's freeing. Like, I'm working 50 hours this week delivering food to make enough money while doing this and my other job. I don't really like it. Like, I don't want to do that, but I got to do it. So I say, I don't want to do this, but it's 5 days and I'll get through it. And I'll probably be more disciplined afterwards and feel really good. It's like going to the gym. Like, you're like, I don't like this, or like doing this workout, or like doing this detox, but I know I'm going to feel better in a week. Like, that's okay to not like things.
Mm-hmm.
But no, it's in your, I don't really like brushing my teeth. I'm like, yeah, like I do because it feels good, but I do it because it's good for me.
Yeah, and that's the part that, at least in the spiritual community, where I hear a lot, it's like, oh, well, don't go into that negative emotion. It's like, it's not negative. It's like, you have to allow it to move through.
You don't manifest them. I mean, there is a point where you can manifest negative emotions, but from a psychological standpoint, not allowing yourself to have emotions keeps them around longer.
Yeah, that's a good point too. That is very true.
I mean, that's pretty well studied with emotional regulation and, radical acceptance of your emotions. Like, it's okay to feel whatever you feel. Like that. I mean, that's how people heal from addiction and heal from mental disorders all the time. And not mental disorders, but like, it works.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you're nervous. I'm nervous. Okay. Like, I'm going on a trip and I don't know where I'm going. I'm a little nervous. I'm about to sky. Like, to me, that's like, if you just avoid, there's no striving for anything better then, because you're probably not doing anything more. You're just kind of sitting where you're at.
Yeah, you're just
not feeling any negative emotions.
Yeah, you're just taking it and going, it's like, okay, here's another one. Okay, here's another one. Here's another one. I mean, even just saying that, it's like, it doesn't have any, it doesn't even make me motivated to do anything like that. It's like, oh, there's another one. Oh, I'm going to go through this. Oh, I'm going to go through that. It's just, it's boring.
Yeah. And I mean, we've never been taught how to deal with emotions, which is why part of my passion is teaching children all these things, because they just were never taught. Like, they were said, oh, feel better, or, it just didn't, we're not taught how to deal with emotions. And so we're, as adults, we're relearning it, and we're like, oh, I'll push through it. And sometimes you do got to go do stuff when you're angry or fearful or sad, but we don't get taught that as kids. Like, yeah, you might be really scared and sad while you got to go to school, but that's okay. Like, you can be sad at school,
Yes.
To cry in front of everyone, but it's okay to not feel good and still do things.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, people wanted people to feel good, so they like get them out of it. Which, if you said that to someone, it's okay to be sad. You can be sad all day at work. I bet they would feel happier real fast.
That's true. Well, it's like what I've talked about with some other people. It's like, for whatever reason, we just have to be given ourselves permission to be whatever. And that's I guess that's just the way we grew up. It's like, I got to give myself permission to let go. I got to give my permission to be happy. It's like, okay, well, you don't need that permission, but if that's what it takes, then do it.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, for me, like, what I do when I have emotions, I isolate. So if I'm not feeling good, I won't do things. I notice that I can cancel calls, and sometimes it's the right thing to do. And that's tough love, right? Like, canceling events and being like, I'm feeling emotional. Can we do this tomorrow? And usually people are flexible, so you do that. And then also, but what I needed to do, my growth, was to go in front of people with emotions. So I had actually got in the world feeling emotional because one, that's growth. So for me, because I isolated, other people just talk about their emotions with everyone, so they need to just go by themselves. Well, I do the opposite. So that's why today I'm like talking through things, because it's kind of my growth. Yeah, I haven't been feeling super good. I mean, I've been feeling happy, but I'm going on a trip. I know this is going to change my whole reality. So like, there's always emotions. When things are changing and I'm going to get the new thing, I feel emotions.
Mm-hmm.
I'm okay with things falling apart. I'm not okay when things are growing. It almost scares me more. I'm like, oh my God, I'm going to be more abundant and I have all these opportunities, and oh no, my life actually might be good. I'm like, that scares me more.
Well,
it's bizarre. It's stupid, but it's true.
It's funny because for me, it's like, I said it before, it's like connecting with you, brought this whole podcast thing. And for me, I've been talking about doing a podcast and doing a podcast and doing a podcast and never did anything. And then you said, okay, let's do it. And I was like, holy crap. That means I got to get serious about it. And then it turns out working with you, it's like, it has been more, it's like, no, let's just play and let's do it that way. But I had this whole serious box to it, and it turned out being a whole new, different thing.
Right. It always just flows organically. And yeah, I mean, for me, it's been difficult to stay committed. Like, that's hard for me, right? It's almost like when things are getting good, I like go want to chase something new. It's like, it's my pattern. It's like, oh, things are good here. Let me go do something new to like create chaos and contrast. I'm like, what am I doing? Like, maybe, and more I stay still in Colorado instead of traveling, and it feels good. I have community. Like, it's like, it takes time to build up something.
Yeah.
But as spiritual people, sometimes we're always, for me, always seeking the new. And that's why I made myself sign leases that were long-term. So I couldn't move away. Like, I did it on purpose, but like, you can't build anything without that. So,
right.
But everyone's growth is different. Some people need to do new things. Well, for me, it's like staying still and being committed is new. I'm like, okay. Like,
well,
then
you're allowing it to sink in.
Right, exactly. It's like, oh, I got it pretty good here. But I'm like, oh, let me go somewhere else. I lived the alchemist. I traveled all around, away from where I lived, and then came back to where I was. And I was like, everything I want is already here. Like, why did I have to go everywhere searching? But I wanted to create contrast. I'm like, all right, I'm going to pack up everything and move again. Just
The Alchemist, that's an awesome book. If anybody hasn't read it, you guys should read it out there. It's a great book, great motivator, I think. And it really just shows you how things are just in a cycle. That's all it is.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it's surrender to the cycles is hard because we want to be in control. Like you said, I want to be in control of things that are eroding or renewing, right? I want to get my vibration so high that I never, ever have to have any hardship. Like that's not going to work. Like, this is not going to happen. I mean, if you believe in Jesus at all, like, I mean, all these ascended masters supposedly had a really high vibration and were connected to source, and they all got killed. So that's okay. It's just like, it's funny. Usually your obstacles are a little harder when you're at a higher place, because then when your car's moving faster. So when you get off the road, it hurts more.
You're opening the door going at 300 miles an hour or whatever. So yeah, it's like, oh man, here it goes. It's like, am I going to jump out? Am I going to jump out? Here we go.
So I just want people to stop. I mean, my passion is for people to just not beat themselves up so much. I don't want anyone blaming themselves and being like, oh, I'm doing something wrong. Because I've done it enough for everyone combined. So
yeah, you and me both, because I blame myself sometimes for some things. And I've gotten a lot better. And actually just talking through with you about this, how just changing the wording, because I'm big about NLP, neuro-linguistic programming. So so for me, I like playing with words because the words do have some power. And I believe, it's all energy. So if we give a word like blame, then that kind of creates a certain energy or vibe or whatever you want to call it to it. And I try to have the words that are more in that side of things, more of the positive type, that flowy, that don't constrict. And it's always work in progress, but it's fun to play with some of the words because it really,
Yep.
as you go through, like even the little exercise we just did, and even unintentional exercise we did, it's like the word blame. It has a negative connotation because I bet you if to our audience, if we're saying blame, we each have a different story about what blame is to them. So if we can
Right.
find what that story is and use a word or whatever, or a phrase or something that changes that connotation to be a little bit more allowing, then it changes the whole feeling of the whole thing.
Yeah. No, exactly. I mean, little changes make a big difference. Like work is a hard one for me.
Yeah.
Goals, I don't like that word. But
Yeah.
intentions feel good. It's really the same thing. Like but like when I say I have an intention to work, 50 hours and make this much money this week, like that feels good. When it's a goal, it's like it feels like work. And I'm like, oh, I'm gonna intentionally do this and it's gonna be like a video game and I'm gonna play my way to getting it. Like for me that feels good. While someone else, that might feel horrible, and working and having a goal feels good.
Mm-hmm.
So, but it's really not that different. But words, because of whatever our past is, have some kind of, your parents might have said go do work, and it might have been a trigger. So, like by
Yeah.
saying intention and I'm going to play, it's going to be a different thing, and then you're going to have more fun. Like me even saying that just made me feel better about what I'm doing. It was so little, but
But it makes a
um,
difference.
yeah. When you get more into this, right? Like any martial arts, like spirituality, or using these words, you're gonna have to get more subtle. Like
Yes.
at first it's big, right? It's like, oh, don't be positive, negative. Now you're like, oh, I can play like in this little, it's like when you get good at basketball or something. Like at first you're just like, all right, I need to learn to dribble and learn to shoot. But then when you get better, it's like the little things matter, right? At the professional level, like one fake can make all the difference. So like
Yeah.
when you get better, it's the subtle things, which is like a higher level of doing this work.
I like that analogy. I also like to use, for me, it's like you're in the river and you're in a canoe, and then you're like you got to just make sure you're always working towards in that flowy part, the less than easy parts of everything. It's like going there, it's like, oh, and just move and move and move. It's like, oh, there's a rock over there, it's like, let's move this way. Oh, there's a rock over there, let's move. Oh, we're about to hit the shore. And
Yeah.
that's the same thing. And we're not even into words, not just words. I mean, we can take that into the way we react, into the way we deal with other people, relationships, how we respond to, if we have a boss, how we respond to a boss, or a customer, or anything, because
Yeah.
it makes life a lot easier that way.
Yeah, definitely. And yeah, it's just being that in that flow. Like I mean, I like rivers too, and and this part of my life, like I kept on getting showed the rapids and the rivers, and my
Hmm.
guides or whatever, and it was a feeling, was like that's where you're at right now. It's the spring, the snow's melting. That's when the rivers flow the fastest.
Yep.
I get all these examples. I was reading The Hobbit, but they say that in there, and I was like, right, it resonated, and that's the spirit telling you when something resonates. You feel it. You're like, oh, that's for me. You know it. It's not like if you're questioning if it's spirit or not, then it's probably not spirit.
And it's funny because that's exactly what I was thinking when you were saying that. It's like, for me, because when it's for me, it's usually no question. Oh man, there it is.
Right.
And I might be afraid or feel some hesitation about it, but there's no questioning that is what it is.
Yeah, and I don't like to tell people or do make decisions so I'm 100% sure. I mean, that's my new thing. Like this, when we want to go on this trip, and like we were having a little turmoil, and I was like, okay, I'm not sure. And then I went to the nature, and it was 100% yes. And like I didn't like the answer. Like part of me was like, oh, this is gonna be harder, but I know this is what I need to do. There wasn't a question anymore. And like you can get to that place. I mean, that's the clarity of spirit, is there's no question what to do. But sometimes in life there isn't an answer what to do. And people keep on searching for it. And the movie of life will just tell you the answer when you need it. So wait. And people don't like that. Maybe I gotta wait to figure this out. I'm like, yeah, they probably need more information.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's the case. You haven't got information you need, or things haven't unfolded, or there's more things to. Probably with IT, that's the case. You
Yeah.
can try to figure it out, but then you get more information and you get the answer. So
Yeah.
sometimes waiting is the thing that you need to do, and you'll know it. Like even with math, like there's just a moment you know the answer, right? And I get that when I lose things. I'm like, oh, there it is. I know where it is, and I like run to it. Like there's this like.
Oh, and see, there's the flow of the universe causing him to slow down a little bit. Maybe
I
you're a
needed
little
that.
too excited there, man.
I was a little excited. Probably the mate tea I drank.
Oh, that's what's keeping you up. Now, that's moving you there.
Yes.
Well, Daniel, you're not going to be here for the next couple of weeks.
No.
So just letting everybody know, we're going to have a guest um, a guest in the next three, depending on Daniel's schedule. And his name is Scott Wright. He's going to be coming in and substituting for you. But there is no
Yes.
substituting for Daniel because Daniel's unique, just like everybody else.
Yeah. Don't be too hard on the substitute teacher.
All right. Well, once again, we're at the end. And is there a challenge to give these people to do within the 3-week allowance that you're going to be gone?
Oh, wow. Don't beat yourself up. So I'm going to use my example. I drank mate tea and was talking a little fast today and really excited. And I was like, at first I was like, oh, I did something wrong. I heard that voice. I was like, no, you're just fine. That's who you are, Dan. Like, you're an excited, playful person. So just let that be. So I was like, notice that like voice. And then I was like, no, we're not going there. Like I was, my other side of my brain was like, that's old. So don't beat yourself up when you make mistakes, when you fall, when you do something stupid, like, and own it. Just don't not own it. Like, right, if you yell at your partner, you're like, well, I did something stupid. But you don't go, and I'm an idiot and I'm a bad person. Like, actually, the less you beat yourself up, the more responsibility you can take.
Yes.
It's ironic. You think it because I think we're taught that by punishing ourselves, we're going to be a better person. Because that's what they do, right? Your parents put you in a timeout, and that's going to make you a better person. So we're like doing it to ourselves. But that really doesn't work. Meditating timeouts are good, but just challenging you to not beat yourself up when things go wrong or things mess up, and stop blaming your vibration for it, please.
The universe just guiding us through the whole shebang here.
Right.
So my challenge is a real simple one. Every time that you want to go in this direction, think about what it would be like to go in the other direction.
Mm-hmm.
And just look into the possibilities. And don't hesitate in thinking what it's like. Just feel it and put it into your heart and feel it. And see if that's the right direction or the other direction. And then you really know. That's my challenge.
Yep. I love that.
Well, thank you, Daniel, once again, and we'll see you in a few weeks. And enjoy your vacation. And everybody subscribe. If you have a little subscribe button right there next to you, go ahead and do it. And like us and comment like always. Thank you
Love you guys.
We love you guys, and we'll see you soon.